Nicole's fingers press hard against the cold stone railing of the upper balcony, her eyes tracking the glittering sea of dancers below. Not a single noblewoman is left sitting on the sidelines tonight. Every wallflower has been swept onto the floor. In just a few minutes, the man who ignored her for years will beg her on bended knee to wait for his love, only for her to realize her heart has gone completely numb. But right now, she is just a spectator in her own life, watching the grand ballroom spin without her. The grand staircase rises like a monument to high society, the live orchestra swelling as elegant couples glide across the polished wood, lost in a fleeting dream of spring romance. Keios turns to her, his eyes wide as he showers her with lavish compliments, comparing her delicate dress to a spring flower and calling her a fairy, which brings a polite, practiced smile to her lips. Nicole's eyes drift away from him, admiring the stunning gowns of Lady Lobelia and Princess Caroline, quietly calling them the true spring fairies, while Keios watches her with a strange, silent intensity. She mentally reviews her remaining social calendar, casually mentioning her plans to study abroad, a sudden revelation that makes Keios freeze in absolute surprise. He quickly asks if she will return to him after her studies. She gives a gentle nod of agreement, but deep down, she knows this marriage will never happen, even as other students swarm them to offer their greetings. Nicole secretly admits to herself that she cannot picture a future as his Marchioness. Her thoughts interrupted as she spots Lord Claude and his fiancé standing nearby in the crowded hall. She watches as Lord Claude's fiancé stands with her shoulders hunched, looking incredibly nervous and isolated beside her silent, imposing partner. Nicole's heart aches with sympathy for the lonely girl, but her breath catches when an unfamiliar male student approaches the fragile fiancé with a sly smile. Suddenly, Claude steps in, pulling his fiancée close from behind with a protective grip that makes the poor girl blush furiously as he glares coldly at the intruder. The persistent student quickly backs away, leaving Nicole to realize that Claude truly wants to shield his partner, even as Keios scoffs at how awkward these fresh-faced first years are. When Nicole happily remarks that she looks forward to watching everyone take their first steps in a high society, Keios turns to her in utter shock, demanding to know why she speaks as if none of this concerns her own future. She quickly brushes his concern aside as a crowd of eager classmates arrives to flatter her, leaving Keios standing in a heavy, troubled silence, deeply shaken by her emotional distance. Later, in the cool shade of the academy garden, Nicole prepares to head home when she notices Claude's fiancé nervously clutching a small, beautifully wrapped gift box. With trembling hands, the young girl shyly offers Claude a batch of homemade cookies, hoping they will comfort him during his long, exhausting study sessions. But Claude doesn't even look at the box, coldly rejecting the peace offering and telling her not to waste her precious time on him, leaving her in tears while Nicole watches, horrified, from behind a thick tree. The moment Claude walks away without looking back, Nicole rushes out from her hiding spot to comfort the weeping girl, her voice filled with deep concern as she asks if she is all right. The girl gasps, recognizing Nicole as the noble lady who once worked in disguise. Nicole gently offers her a soft handkerchief, and the girl takes it with a watery smile, apologizing for letting anyone see her in such a pitiful state. Sitting together on a quiet park bench, the girl introduces herself as Mattia Morris, admitting she is Claude's fiancé, which prompts Nicole to gently ask if he is always this cold to her. Mattia tearfully confesses that Claude keeps his life a secret, including his plans to study abroad, but she quickly wipes her tears and vows to try even harder to earn his affection, a desperate resolve that only makes Nicole feel deeply sorrowful. Mattia offers a polite farewell and thanks Nicole for her kindness. Watching her walk away, Nicole realizes with a heavy chest that Mattia's desperate pleading is a painful mirror of her own behavior just a year ago, right before she finally chose to give up. She feels suffocated, trapped inside a gilded cage of family expectations and high society rules. The path her parents chose offers a safe, boring happiness, but deep down, her soul screams for something more. She remembers the sheer shock on her parents' faces when she first asked to study abroad. They were terrified for her safety, yet completely blind to the fact that her own fiancé, Lord Keios, had been ignoring her existence for years. Holding a warm, supportive letter from Keios' mother, Nicole marvels at how noble women in other kingdoms are allowed to work and study freely, dreading the day her own parents find out about her secret job and break her engagement in scandal. Lying awake in her quiet bedroom, Nicole loses herself in dreams of a brighter, more liberal world where women can attend great academies and marriages are forged from genuine love rather than cold political alliances. She questions what true love even feels like, comparing her quiet life to the passionate romance novels she hides under her pillow, remembering how her heart once fluttered for Keios, only for her expression to tighten with regret. She drifts off to sleep with a quiet, desperate wish that love might one day find her, while her jewelry box sits closed on the vanity, holding the floral hairpins and pearls she no longer cares to wear. The next morning at the academy, the peace is shattered when a group of furious male students corners Lord Keios in the hallway, shouting that they have finally caught him and demanding he pay for his sins. As we enter Chapter 16, titled Independence is in Style, we see Nicole holding a heavy tome, surrounded by the beautiful, delicate things that represent her quiet, personal rebellion. The angry noblemen yell that their own fiancés have suddenly started acting cold and independent, all because they are following Nicole's scandalous example. But Keios simply yells back that it isn't his problem as he tries to push past them. Desperate to escape the mob of frustrated boyfriends, Keios ducks into a nearby classroom, panting for breath as the students inside look up at him with raised eyebrows and quiet amusement. Suddenly, a student named Marius Grino stands up, pointing a dramatic finger at Keios and declaring him the root of all evil for letting Nicole ruin the submissive nature of their partners, challenging him to a battle of wills. Keios groans, listening to Marius complain about how his once gentle, quiet fiancé has suddenly changed, recalling the peaceful days when they used to do nothing but read books together. Marius complains that his fiancée now wanders the city entirely alone, refusing to even open the romantic literature he lends her, blaming Nicole's corrupting influence for her sudden defiance. A sympathetic friend chimes in, suggesting that maybe she just has a harmless secret hobby like baking sweets, prompting Marius to try and convince himself that women are simply mysterious creatures. But Marius's face pales as he recalls his fiancée, returning home smelling of heavy men's cologne and keeping her weekend schedule entirely clear for a mysterious special day, sending a wave of panic through the group. Terrified that his beloved is secretly seeing another man, Marius storms out of the room to find her, leaving his friends whispering that the situation looks incredibly grim. Meanwhile, in the grand halls of the royal palace, older noblemen observe with concern how Nicole's influence is reshaping the capital, with new cafes and theaters opening specifically to cater to solo female patrons. The conservative lords worry that this sudden wave of female independence will only attract dangerous men, warning that unprotected ladies like Nicole will soon be targeted by predatory wolves. Unaware of the gossip, Nicole enjoys a quiet walk through the bustling town square, while Keios follows her from a safe distance, torn between his duty to protect her and his fear of pushing her further away. Determined to keep her safe from any lowlifes, Keios ducks behind a carriage, his heart racing as he watches a strange man approach Nicole to ask if she is wandering the streets alone. But Nicole doesn't flinch. She politely but firmly rejects the man's advances, stating she is perfectly content on her own, making Keios puff out his chest with a sudden wave of pride from his hiding place. Keios debates whether he should accidentally bump into her, but decides he doesn't want to look like a desperate stalker, so he continues to tail her silently as she stops in front of a small boutique. While Nicole slips inside to browse the handkerchiefs, Keios spots a suspicious, freckled man lurking in the shadows of the alleyway, his eyes locked on the shop door. The moment Nicole steps back out, Keios springs into action, tackling the suspicious man and pinning his arms behind his back, leaving Nicole staring in absolute shock as she gasps his name. The pinned man yelps in pain, quickly explaining that he is actually the fiancé of a girl named Cecily, and that he was only watching over her from the shadows because he was worried about her safety. Nicole's eyes flash with anger as she glares at both of them, declaring that being silently watched and followed without consent brings a woman nothing but sheer terror and disgust. She firmly demands the man stop stalking his fiancée, telling him that if he truly cares, he should have the courage to talk to her directly about why she wants to spend time alone. But the mystery deepens. Soon after, Marius, Nicole, and a handsome blonde student find themselves tailing Cecily as she enters a high-end store, with the blonde companion teasing that she might be meeting a secret lover. Standing outside a second-hand clothing shop, the trio tries to guess her motives. Marius looks deeply troubled, wondering why his wealthy fiancée would ever visit such a cheap, dusty establishment without a servant to carry her bags. Nicole takes charge, telling Marius to stay outside and guard the street while she and the blonde companion slip inside to see if Cecily is indeed meeting a secret partner. Once inside, the blonde companion whispers that they should pretend to be a romantic couple to blend in, allowing them to overhear Cecily asking the shopkeeper for a men's garment in a remarkably small size. Cecily insists the men's clothing must be plain and simple, explaining that drawing any attention to herself would cause a massive scandal, leaving Nicole and her companion utterly dumbfounded. With a bright smile, Cecily purchases the men's outfit and a matching cap, forcing Nicole and her partner to dive behind a display counter to avoid detection, while Marius waits anxiously outside with a stray dog. Reuniting on the street, the blonde companion worries that Cecily is involved in something incredibly dark and dangerous, but Nicole remains hopeful as they follow her to a nearby apothecary. Nicole begins to feel a pang of guilt for spying on her classmate, but they all freeze when Cecily exits the shop carrying a small, wrapped parcel that Marius notes is definitely not her usual sweet-smelling herb sachet. The blonde companion points out the color of the wrapping paper, confirming it is a popular, musky men's cologne. Losing her patience, Nicole decides she cannot let this mystery go unsolved and prepares to confront her directly. Nicole deliberately bumps into Cecily on the crowded street, acting surprised and immediately inviting her to join her for a cup of tea, which Cecily happily accepts, mentioning she has some free time before her evening plans. Sitting in a quiet tea room, Nicole carefully tries to steer the conversation towards Cecily's secret shopping trip, but Cecily smoothly denies that she is meeting any specific gentleman after they finish. With a mysterious smile, Cecily whispers that she is going to see them purely for her own pleasure, regardless of whether they welcome her or not, warning that Marius must never find out about this. Nicole is stunned by how casually Cecily speaks of keeping secrets from her future husband, her jaw dropping as Cecily leans across the table, begging her to keep this scandalous secret safe. Watching through the tea room window, Marius is completely mesmerized by Cecily's beautiful, animated expressions, while his companion grumbles in frustration because they cannot hear a single word. Seeing Nicole's face turn pale with shock, the companion realizes the conversation has reached a critical point and quickly drags Marius to a table closer to the girls to eavesdrop. They arrive just in time to hear Cecily describe a fateful encounter that awakened her wild side, sighing that every time bare flesh meets bare flesh, she feels an intense, electric thrill that leaves her watchers paralyzed with shock. Keios, who has just caught up, blushes furiously at her suggestive words, while Nicole looks on with pure curiosity. Keios immediately blames Marius for letting his fiancée get corrupted, but Marius snaps at him to get his mind out of the gutter. Before they can argue further, Cecily stands up, bids Nicole a cheerful farewell, and slips away into the crowd, prompting the panicked Keios and Marius to give chase. Nicole wanders through a lively, decorated district, her mind spinning with worry for Cecily, when Keios and Marius suddenly panned up to her side, making her realize she had completely forgotten they were even there. The three of them push through a dense, festive market filled with loud street musicians and colorful stalls, Keios muttering in confusion about what a refined noble lady like Cecily could possibly be doing in such a rough neighborhood. Suddenly, a loud commotion erupts nearby, with people shouting about a violent brawl breaking out inside a large, dirty canvas tent, causing Nicole and Marius to instantly fear for Cecily's safety. Without a second thought, Marius and Nicole sprint toward the chaotic tent, while Keios desperately reaches out, screaming for Nicole to stop because it is far too dangerous for her. Bursting through the tent flaps, they are met with the smell of sweat and cheap alcohol, finding a wild crowd gathered around a makeshift ring where a drunk patron is screaming about a foul play. Keios spots the aggressive drunk raising a heavy glass bottle, his eyes widening as he realizes the target is a small, familiar figure wearing an oversized cap. It's Cecily in her male disguise. Marius screams her name, throwing his body over Cecily just as the glass bottle shatters, while Keios yells at Nicole to stay back and prepare for a fight. With practiced grace, Keios snatches a decorative sword from a nearby wall, stepping between the crowd and the drunk, knocking the attacker to the ground with a single, powerful strike. Standing triumphantly over the groaning man, Keios lets out a heavy sigh of annoyance, scolding the drunkard for making a scene and terrifying his beloved Nicole. Nicole rushes to his side, her eyes wide with relief that he isn't hurt. Keios looks down at her, his voice softening into a gentle whisper as he tells her how terrified he was that something might happen to her. Meanwhile, Marius pulls the cap off the person he shielded, confirming it is indeed Cecily. As the dust settles, Keios is left completely speechless when Cecily casually reveals she has been secretly having tea with his own mother. He admits he recognized her the very instant she walked into the arena, expressing a genuine desire to learn everything about boxing just so he can share in the things she loves. Marius excitedly suggests they attend the next match together disguised as brothers, leaving Keios to watch them with a sigh of relief, glad that the cheating scandal was nothing but a misunderstanding. Nicole prepares to head home, but when Keios tries to follow her, she quickly mentions that she has an appointment to have tea with his mother to borrow some rare reference books. She emphasizes that the meeting is at a strict, women-only salon to keep him from tagging along, watching Cecily and Marius walk hand in hand while she quietly accepts her own solitary path. As the Grand Traders Market approaches, Nicole worries that inviting the lonely Mattia without a male companion will only make her the target of nasty rumors among the elite. Meeting with Mattia, who sadly admits she spent the last market wandering all by herself, Nicole smiles warmly and asks, "Then, would you like to go with me this year?" Meanwhile, in the Bronze Estate, Keios is practicing his invitation in front of a mirror, while Lady Lobelia watches with a critical eye, calling his posture sloppy and his words completely frivolous. After hours of Lobelia's harsh tutoring, Keios finally manages a perfect, noble invitation, resolving to ask Nicole to join him for tea right after their classes and tomorrow. The next day, Nicole enters a quiet study room looking for Princess Caroline, only to find her chatting with Keios. Ignoring him, Nicole bows to the princess and says she has a favor to ask. To Keios' absolute horror and the shock of everyone watching, Nicole ignores her fiancé entirely and asks Princess Caroline if she would accompany her to the Traders Market. As Chapter 18, Mixed Feelings, begins, Keios stands frozen like a statue, his heart shattering as he watches his fiancé invite another woman to the date he spent all night practicing for. Keios finally explodes in a fit of rage, pointing an accusing finger at Princess Caroline and shouting that their lifelong friendship is officially over. He fumes, believing Caroline is deliberately mocking his secret plans to court Nicole, while Nicole stands there completely baffled, wondering what could have possibly caused such a dramatic outburst. Princess Caroline laughs off his anger and calms the room down, allowing Nicole to explain that she wanted to invite Mattia, but feared the vicious gossip of the high society if they went alone. In a private corner, Nicole quietly asks Princess Caroline to use her royal status to ensure that both Mattia and Lord Claude are invited, hoping to force the distant couple to make some happy memories together. Caroline eagerly agrees to the plan, suggesting they invite Keios as well, knowing that a grand group outing will make it impossible for the stubborn Claude to refuse. Caroline winks at Keios, whispering that she will slip away early so he can finally have his romantic moment with Nicole, leaving Nicole to wonder what the two childhood friends are plotting. The day of the market arrives, the streets packed with excited shoppers. While Claude looks incredibly grumpy and distracted by his studies, Nicole thanks him warmly for taking the time to join them. Princess Caroline leads the group with boundless energy, while Keios quickly steps up to Nicole's side, asking if there is any particular stall she wants to visit first. They wander past vibrant displays of silks, ancient books, and polished swords, until Caroline suddenly gasps and claims she must leave immediately to attend to her urgent royal wedding preparations. With a dramatic wave and a subtle wink at Nicole, the princess departs with her royal guards, leaving Keios to wonder if the princess is actually trying to steal his fiancé's attention. When Claude immediately tries to use her departure as an excuse to leave, Keios grabs his shoulder, insisting they stay, and secretly planning to use the dense crowd to slip away with Nicole. As they enter a narrow, packed alleyway, Keios decides this is his perfect moment. He reaches blind into the crowd, snatches a hand, and pulls them away into a quiet side street. But when he looks down, he gasps in horror to find he is clutching Claude's hand instead of Nicole's, leading to an incredibly awkward shouting match where he insults Claude's rough, calloused fingers. Meanwhile, Nicole and Mattia realize their male companions have vanished. Nicole apologizes for dragging her into this mess, but Mattia smiles softly, noting how lively and close Nicole and Keios seem to be. Nicole sighs, recalling how she spent the previous year's market entirely alone, admitting she was terrified at first but eventually found a strange, peaceful freedom in her own company. She tells Mattia that she doesn't need to force herself to be lonely, stopping in front of a sparkling jewelry stall to show off a beautiful bracelet she bought during her solo trip. Nicole points out the matching bracelets that are currently popular among academy couples, suggesting they meet the boys at the central fountain, though she warns it can be a bit crowded with rowdy men. Nicole asks Mattia to wait by the stall while she goes ahead to check the fountain area, while elsewhere, Keios is throwing a tantrum because his perfect date plan has completely fallen apart. Keios frantically scans the sea of faces, his desperate search catching the attention of Claude, who remarks that Keios seems surprisingly terrified of losing his fiancée. Claude gestures toward the central fountain as the most logical meeting spot, though Keios cannot help but notice how cold and distant Claude remains whenever Mattia's name is mentioned. Waiting by the spraying water, Nicole is suddenly cornered by a sleazy stranger who notices she is standing all by herself. The man grabs her arm with a mocking grin, but Nicole keeps her cool, preparing to stomp her heel onto his foot to teach him a lesson. Before she can strike, Claude suddenly appears from the crowd, his hand clamping down on the stranger's wrist with a bone-crushing grip that leaves Nicole staring in shock. Claude glares the man down until he flees, then turns to Nicole with a tense, urgent expression, demanding to know where Mattia is. Keios finally catches up, sighing with relief as he finds Nicole safe, while Nicole asks why they disappeared so suddenly earlier. Nicole admits she mistook Claude's silhouette for Keios's in the rush, unaware that Mattia is standing just a few feet away, watching them in silence. Claude curtly announces that they are leaving, and Keios suggests he walk Nicole home while Claude takes care of Mattia. But Nicole shakes her head, telling Keios she still has one errand left to run and urging him to head back to the estate without her. Ignore Keios's protests. Nicole runs off, hiding behind a stone pillar to quietly watch Claude and Mattia walk down the quiet street together. Mattia suddenly stops, her face turning bright red as she reaches into her bag and offers Claude a small, neatly wrapped gift. With a trembling voice, she explains that the package contains matching bracelets, hoping they can wear them together, while Nicole watches from her hiding spot, holding her breath. Claude looks down at the offering, his face unreadable as Mattia stands before him, her heart on her sleeve, waiting for any sign of warmth. But Claude simply sighs, pushing the gift back toward her and coldly stating that he cannot accept such a thing, shattering her hopes in an instant. Mattia lets out a choked sob, apologizing profusely before turning and running down the street in tears, leaving Claude standing entirely alone in the fading light. Nicole steps out from behind the wall, her chest burning with absolute fury at Claude's heartless rejection of such a pure and gentle gesture. But before she can confront him, Keios appears at her side, gently explaining that Claude was actually frantic when they lost her, and that he is only keeping his distance now to ensure she gets home safely without feeling pressured. Nicole quietens, her mind filled with questions about Claude's true feelings as the market ends and the long summer break begins at the academy. She throws herself into her studies and her secret job at the restaurant to keep her mind busy, yet she cannot shake her deep worry for the fragile bond between Claude and Mattia. One hot afternoon, Her maid delivers a beautifully sealed letter from Keios, advising her to rest and not overwork herself for her upcoming language exams. Keios' letter warmly invites her to join him for a relaxing day out. Nicole drafts a polite, formal acceptance, which Keios receives with a bright, genuine smile. Determined to make the date perfect, Keios drags his friends to help him scout a quiet, romantic cafe, earning some playful teasing about his sudden, intense devotion to his fiancée. Keios thanks them for their help, and a sudden silence falls over the group as they realize these carefree student days will soon end once they graduate and marry. Walking through the cobblestone streets in search of a perfect gift for Nicole, Keios stops when he sees a young woman sweeping the storefront of a shop called Palais. He freezes, struck by how much the working girl resembles Nicole, trying to dismiss the thought until he notices the familiar flower ornament pinned in her hair. Nicole's heart drops as she looks up and meets Keios' stunned gaze, her panic doubling when Claude suddenly steps out of the shop right behind her. Keios can only watch in absolute silence as Nicole and Claude walk back inside the building together, leaving him standing alone in the street before Nicole finally returns home. Back at her estate, Nicole lies to her maid, claiming she spent the entire day studying at the Royal Library, only to be told that Keios had stopped by looking for her. Hearing that Keios seemed incredibly flustered by her absence, Nicole sits at her desk to write a quick, apologetic letter to keep her secret job safe. But as her pen hovers over the paper, her heart races with anxiety, wondering what she will do if Keios actually went to the library and realized she was never there. A heavy wave of guilt washes over her as she seals the envelope, realizing that her lies are slowly turning her into an unfaithful, deceitful fiancé. She resolves to endure this double life only until her exams are finished, unaware that Keios is currently standing outside her iron gates, staring up at her dark window. The next day at the shop, the owner Ms. Zaloa pours them some warm tea, commenting on how fortunate it is that Claude was there to protect Nicole during the recent street trouble. Claude grumbles, telling Nicole to call him immediately or hide in the back if any customer gets aggressive, prompting Ms. Zaloa to tease him for being so protective despite his gruff exterior. When Ms. Zaloa mentions the upcoming flower festival, Nicole accidentally lets Mattia's name slip, earning a sharp glare from Claude as the shopkeeper asks who that might be. Claude reluctantly confesses that Mattia is his fiancé, and Ms. Zaloa immediately asks what beautiful flowers he plans to gift her, leaving him in a tense, conflicted silence. Ms. Zaloa sighs, sharing a story about how her first husband completely ignored her during the festival, which led her to leave him for the sweet young man who actually brought her flowers. Nicole is left deep in thought by the blunt advice as she and Claude walk out of the shop together, prompting her to call out to him as they reach the street. She warns Claude that if he continues to ignore Mattia during the festival, another man will surely step in and take her away, just like in Ms. Zaloa's story. But Claude simply scoffs, muttering that he actually hopes someone else makes her happy, leaving Nicole utterly stunned by his dismissive attitude. As Nicole quietly thinks that Mattia might indeed be better off with someone who values her, Claude suddenly clarifies that he doesn't actually dislike his fiancée. He confesses that he believes Mattia deserves someone far better than a cold, difficult man like him, making Nicole realize that his cruelty is born from a deep, misguided sense of unworthiness. On the day of their planned date, Nicole is dressed in her finest noble attire as Keios arrives in a grand carriage, offering a polite apology for keeping her waiting as she resolves to enjoy the day. As she takes his hand, she cannot help but think that their engagement would have been dissolved by now if Keios hadn't suddenly started trying so hard to keep her close. Keios is captivated by her beauty, complimenting her radiant aura and her stunning gown, which she quietly mentions was a gift from her mother. He suggests they take a stroll through the famous lavender fields, secretly assuming she dressed up just to impress him, while Nicole simply offers a gentle, compliant smile. Arriving at the park, Nicole is delighted by the rich, soothing scent of the purple fields, while Keios slyly checks a crumpled cheat sheet hidden in his palm. Keios reveals in his thoughts that he had his friends help him design the ultimate romantic itinerary, determined to win her heart back before the day ends. They wander into a bustling festival market, and Nicole realizes with a soft sigh that she no longer feels the painful anxiety that used to plague her around him. Keios happily agrees to browse the wooden stalls, but his eyes suddenly lock onto a stray honeybee buzzing dangerously close to Nicole's face. Seeing a perfect chance to play the hero, Keios swings his hand to swat the bee away, only to accidentally anger an entire swarm nesting nearby. Nicole can only watch in utter bewilderment as the proud Lord Keios is chased down the dirt path by a cloud of angry bees, screaming in terror. Later, Nicole hands a cold cup of lemonade to a panting, disheveled Keios, who is dying of embarrassment but desperately tries to transition to the next romantic step. But his heart stops when he realizes he dropped his date notes, only to see two passing noble women reading them aloud and laughing at how incredibly cheesy and dorky the plan is. Overhearing their mocking laughter, Keios slumps onto a wooden bench in utter defeat, while Nicole sits beside him, gently asking if he is feeling unwell. Determined not to let his hard work go to waste, Keios sits up straight and insists he is perfectly fine, pointing toward a grand exhibit nearby. A quiet moment passes between them, the half-empty lemonade cups sitting on the table as they look at each other under the warm afternoon sun. After dragging her through a terrifying, haunted manor exhibit, Keios is left looking completely drained and defeated, while Nicole happily sips her tea, thoroughly entertained. Nicole thanks him for such a wonderful and refreshing change of pace, prompting Keios to take a deep, steadying breath and call her name with absolute seriousness. With a softened gaze, Keios offers a deep, sincere apology for ignoring her for the past year and leaving all the emotional weight of their relationship on her shoulders. He expresses his deep regret, promising that he will personally come to escort her for this year's flower festival, pleading with her to wait for him. Nicole freezes, his earnest confession leaving her completely speechless as she stares down into her swirling teacup, a heavy silence settling over them. She offers a polite, rehearsed acceptance, but Keios immediately senses the emotional wall she has built between them, asking if his proposal makes her uncomfortable. Nicole quickly lies, claiming that the mention of the flower festival simply made her worry about Claude and Mattia's troubled relationship, catching Keios off guard. But Keios reaches out, looking directly into her eyes as he repeats his promise to cherish her at the upcoming festival, leaving her heart in a state of utter confusion. Suddenly, a cold realization washes over Nicole. She thinks to herself that Keios is only being this kind because he wants to give her some nice final memories before she departs for her studies abroad. She looks at him, realizing he has always been a serious, duty-bound man who used to focus entirely on the student council and Princess Caroline, but is now focusing all his energy on her. A painful wave of memories floods her mind, recalling the countless times she dressed up, smiled, and practically begged for his attention, only for him to never once look her way. Later that night, alone in her quiet room, Nicole sits at her desk to write. A profound melancholy settles over her as she realizes that his long-awaited promise of love has arrived far too late, leaving her heart entirely cold, empty, and blue.